history of what our relationship is, how this thing works.
Yeah.
And it's exciting.
It really is. It's gonna get fun.
Run DMC and what was done there. These are the roots of the foundation. Rev brings the real, true roots of the sneaker world to people who have created it. And Rev has been there since day one.
Every time I get around sneakers, they sell. I always say Rev Run, saving the souls of men. Souls meaning the soles of your feet and your soul.
You know, I really think he's the roots, a big part of what the sneaker business represents, and you know, he's evolved himself. You ask about my success, it's all about being relevant to the consumers. You know, you gotta be real, because the kids know what you're all about.
That's our dynamics. He comes from out of his community. They're sneaker shoemakers for years. Connects with my brother Russell, then they find me in the midst of that. Another jewel in Russell's crown. And he's been with me ever since. You got anything to add to that?
Yeah.
What? Add something to it.
Friendship, no?
Oh, well, that's all. Jesus.
Sunny places.
Well, good. That's beautiful that you said that.
This guy goes up and he says to Russell Simmons, he says, hey, Russell, I want to make a brand for you. I want to make your clothing. So the guy says, look, before I do anything, I want to do sneakers first. So that's when he called us.
And I remember Solomon just sitting there, just being fascinated with Russell. And you know, like a puppy dog.
I had no idea who Russell Simmons was.
And Sol had this huge fascination with Russell Simmons. He's like, how does a guy talk about stitching while he's closing a $200 million deal, worrying about the sneaker? And he was fascinated by that.
After a guy in the foot industry was the president of Foot Locker, his name was Bob Butler, and he says, you gotta come up with a unique concept of how to go in and sell a brand. So I went up to Russell and I said, hey Russ, we need a special angle. And Russell said, well, I'm gonna give you the guy who held up the Adidas shell toe. And I started working on a shoe, working on shoes, and we came up with something called the Fat Classic. And that was a monster of a program.
So Saul was sold. He was sold on me. He's still sold on me and my family. His reaction was, whatever that guy's doing, let's do it. To this day.
I was just randomly sending FedEx packages to like Oprah, LL, and anybody that had money. You know, a lot of businessmen too. But I remember specifically looking at the XXL magazine, and I opened it and it was Justine and Rev in front of this house. And I was like, and they were talking about their house, and I said, I know this house. FedEx next day made it to Run, specifically geared toward Run. And I was like, I need help. He said he threw it out.
It wasn't about him, it was about 50 things a day in my mailbox.
And he said, Justine is the one that took it out the garbage and said, you need to answer this.
Something happened very mystical that my wife said, you should really look at this. And I don't know why I was in the mood to really look at it. I was like, okay, maybe I should call this guy.
I didn't get the first call, it was the voicemail. And I called all my friends nervous. And I said, I gotta call him back. And I called him back with this semi-rehearsed speech about breaking bread and let's hook up. And he bust me down because in the middle of my speech, he was like, I'm coming over.
He came in with his ideas. I was gung-ho right away.
Within 5 minutes, Run Athletics was named for sure, without a doubt.
The initial meeting was basically, I remember it being in my living room. It was just about him trying to get me to wear his clothes.
He was like, what you got is going on, it's cool, it's decent, it's organized, but if you was to do something for me and you, what would you do? And I said, I'd do something called Run Athletics. And he was like, that's it, let's do it.
Tried to back out, like didn't really want to talk. He kept pushing and calling. So I kind of like sent him to my brother's office to continue the thought of Run Athletics.
Russell said, it sounds like a great idea, Joe. Call Rashid in the office, let me look him in his eye and see, you know, if he's a good person. And I came in, he was unpolished dude from Hollis.
And he kind of became an intern at Rush offices, Fat Farm.
By the 7th month, I started getting my feet planted, you know, and knowing exactly what I wanted to do and understanding the marketing aspect of the business.
Russell closed a deal for Run Athletics at JCPenney. When we came out of JCPenney's, turned it into a sneaker company. Forget apparel. This is a sneaker company. And we were off to the races.